Hey everyone, Tony Walsh here. Welcome back to the channel and another edition of Wednesday in the Word. So this background behind me, you've seen it, but I've not shot a video with this as my background. And why is this background important for today's message? Well, in this opening right there is the old hog barn back from the 50s, 60s, where Jackie's grandparents used to raise hogs, obviously. So again, what does hogs have to do with today's message? Well, the hogs itself, nothing. But as we are getting prepared to move from the subdivision over here to the farmstead, I would like to put some couple of pigs and some cows in that barn because it's big enough for a couple of each. So that's my plan. So today I'm gonna more talk about cows and even more about sheep than I am pigs. Now, some of you that know me knew I grew up on a dairy farm, probably from the time I was 14 to maybe 21. And boy, I sure miss them years. Loved that work. At the time, maybe not so much, but now going back, boy, I wish I had them years over and wish I would have stayed there. The dairy farm's now closed, so I'd have been having to do something else, but boy, I'd have loved to have had another 10 years there until it closed, but because it's a great time of my life. So, we milked 300 cows a day, so they had probably, and the gnats are out, so you're going to see me swatting, scratching, and everything else. They probably had 600 to 700 cows, because you only had the ones you're milking. You also had another herd that was dry and calving and all that stuff. So, spent a lot of my years around cattle. Now, most people, when they say cattle, they think of beef cattle, but to me, a cow is a cow, and when you have that many, we still had to herd that many we didn't have to herd that many every morning, but there was always the 50 to 60. If you're milking 300, there's going to be 25 to 50 that are stragglers, and you're going to have to go herd them up. And that's what I want to talk about today is herding. That is the focus. So anybody that's had to herd cattle knows you have to push cattle from the behind. Cattle have no sense. If you've ever watched them walk across the field, they will walk the same path regardless of how crooked it is. They have no sense of direction. They have no belonging for the most part. They just wander around from one part of the field to the other part of the field, grazing on whatever they can graze or going from one hay ring to the next. They just wander. So when you're trying to herd them, you have to get behind them and push them. Whether it's on horses, four-wheelers, trucks, or using dogs, you herd cattle or you push cattle from the rear. So again, what's that got to do with the word? Well, again, I don't watch much TV anymore because I'm constantly working, traveling, getting ready to move from the subdivision to the farmstead, making YouTube videos. So when I do watch TV, it's either a crime drama or some sort of Western themed movie. Now, a lot of people my age are John Wayne fans, and one of my favorite movies, and I don't know why, but one of my favorite movies is McClintock. And one of the scenes in there was a sheep herder that some cattlemen were fixing to hang. So it was 3 cattlemen against 1 sheep herder and a little boy. Well, in the backdrop, there's numerous amount of sheep. Obviously, I didn't count them. But with that numerous amount of sheep, 1 sheep herder. If you'd have had that same amount of cattle, you'd have had to have multiple cowboys. And in this instant, in this scene, there were 3 cowboys. So don't know where they come from, didn't show the cows, that's irrelevant. But what I want to talk about, the difference between somebody that has to be pushed or herded against somebody that follows, and that's the difference between cattle and sheep. Cattle have to be pushed, they have to be herded. Sheep will follow their sheep herder. Now I know when we were milking cows, we could sing to the the cows, and cowboys would even, that get along little doggy, however that song goes, they would sing to the cattle. Well, that's to try to calm them down. The difference with sheep, the sheep herder could talk and the sheep would follow. The sheep knew that the sheep herder was there to protect them. The sheep herder was the barrier between them and death, which was a wolf, in our times, a coyote or whatever, because we have coyotes here, we have bobcats here, so little sheep, you'd have to take care of just like you would a calf. But even full-grown sheep need protection, and that's what a sheep herder did. A sheep herder had, his rod, he had his staff, and sheep herders were willing to lay down their life for a sheep. Cowboys, not so much lay down their life for a cow. Now that, if they could take their gun and shoot a coyote, a bear, or whatever was attacking cows, so be it. But in the end, a cowboy is not going to die, for the most part, is not going to die for a cow. But a sheep herder, a true sheep herder, would. A hired hand may not, but a true sheep herder had a vested interest. It even says that in the Bible. I think it's John chapter 10. It talks about that a sheep herder would lay down his life, but the hired hand will drop his rod and staff and boogity, 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 take off. And in John chapter 10, that's where Jesus talks about, I am the good shepherd. Again, in those times, sheep herders were dirty. They were nasty. They didn't smell good. They weren't the middle class of society because obviously they stayed out with the sheep. Nobody had access to plumbing back then, but obviously the sheep herder didn't have access to good bath water. Because that sheep herder, the most important thing to him was the sheep. So why did Jesus Christ identify himself as the good shepherd? Well, because to Jesus, we are his flock. He wants to care for us in the same fashion as a sheep herder did the four-legged sheep. Just like a sheep herder would lay down his life for a four-legged sheep, Jesus laid down his life for you and I. That is a true shepherd. But see, Jesus gives us a choice. Jesus isn't behinding us, pushing us, trying to hurt us, saying, you must do this, you must do that. Jesus gives us a choice. Jesus walks in front of us because he said, follow me. He wants us to make that choice in choosing to follow him. Make that choice into accepting the lifestyle that he wants for us. He had a choice when he got up to the Golgotha. God, if you'll take this cup from me, but if it be your will, I'll do it. I'm here for you. I don't remember the exact verbiage. It went out my brain that quick. But Jesus made the choice to die on that cross for us. I'm here to ask you today to make a choice to follow Jesus. Make the words that Jesus spoke when he said, I am the good shepherd. Come and follow me. Be the direction that you want to go. See, the devil's constantly working in this world. The devil is pushing us to ill-watched stuff on TV, social media, even YouTube videos that just are not to be desired. See, that's the devil pushing you. That's the devil hurting you. And the devil has many minions. Just like it takes a lot of cowboys to herd cows, to push cows, the devil and his minions are pushing you. Pushing me. Three fingers pointing back at me. The devil is pushing us to live a life so that we live an eternity in hell. So that we live an eternity in a life of damnation. Jesus isn't pushing you. He just says, follow me. That's all I'm asking you to do. Follow him. Read his word, study his word. If you're not involved in a church, get involved in a church, but get involved in a church that believes Jesus is the Messiah, that Jesus is the way to heaven. That's all I have for today. I hope y'all have a blessed day and a blessed rest of the week. And until we get back together, y'all take care, and I'll see you soon.